Xbox has started off 2023 incredibly strong, and the first half of this year has been stacked with so many amazing new games. Today we will be going through the 30 best day one games coming to Xbox Game Pass for the remainder of 2023. We may still see more games announced at the upcoming Xbox Showcase in June, so make sure you're subscribed for even more Xbox content and news every single day. First up, we have probably one of the most anticipated games of 2023, and it is coming day one to Game Pass in the first half of this year, and that is Hollow Knight SILKSONG. This is the sequel to the award-winning Hollow Knight, and from what we've seen so far, I'm absolutely extremely hyped for this entire game. Players will get to explore, fight and survive in this gorgeous platformer ruled by Silk and Song. There is still no fixed release date, as we were due to receive this game in the first half of this year. However, it is still slated for a 2023 release. Now we have Lies of P, developed by NeoWiz. Whilst we have no fixed release date other than 2023, it is certainly incredibly high on many gamers' most anticipated lists. At Gamescom, the developer provided us with an outstanding look at the game, which hyped fans of Bloodborne and other Souls-likes to the roof. With the game taking place in a dark, bell-esque world with some of the best boss design I've ever seen, I was lost for words. Outside of this trailer, we still haven't had much info. However, if they nail the gameplay on the head, I have no doubt that this will be one of the best games of 2023. One game that I am incredibly excited to play this year is Planet of Lana. This is a cinematic puzzle adventure game with some of the most gorgeous visuals I've ever seen from an indie title. You take control of a young girl with her loyal friend and embark on a rescue mission. There is a faceless army that is bringing disharmony to this beautiful and vibrant planet, and it is your job to find out why and stop this war. This vibrant and gorgeous title finally got a release date, and it comes to Game Pass day one on May 23rd. Replace shocked us when it was originally shown off at the Xbox Bethesda Showcase last year, with some of the best pixel art direction we've seen yet in gaming. With its dark and gritty tone and exceptional looking level design, this was high on any gamer's list. Replace combines cinematic platformer, pixel art and free flow combat with a deep engaging dystopian story set in an alternative 1980s. I cannot wait to dive headfirst into the mysteries around Phoenix City when it arrives day one onto Game Pass sometime this year. Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl is the next entry in the genre-defining Stalker series, and looks like it will amp everything up to 11. This experience will give players one-of-a-kind gameplay featuring elements of a first-person shooter, immersive sim and horror. Not only does this world look incredibly deep and realistic, but soon after release a multiplayer mode will be implemented, and this will take on the horrid apocalyptic world with all your friends. Unfortunately, due to the horrid war in Ukraine, this game has been pushed back several times, but the developers have stated that this will be arriving into gamers' hands in 2023. Our next title is one that many horror fans have been anticipating for a long time, and that is the dark and terrifying Amnesia: The Bunker. You will be left alone in a desolate World War I bunker with only one bullet remaining in the barrel, and it's up to you to face the opposing terrors in the dark. At all times, you will be hunted by an ever-present threat reacting to your every move and sound, and you must adapt your every playstyle to face everything thrown at you. Every decision will change the outcome of how the game responds, and the developer has stated that all actions will bear consequences. This game unfortunately got a small 2-week delay and will now be releasing this June. STARFIELD, without a shadow of a doubt, is the most anticipated title arriving into Game Pass this year, and that is to no surprise of any Xbox or PC gamer out there. We finally got to see more about STARFIELD in 2022, and it promises to be the largest and most diverse Bethesda game we have ever seen. You will become part of Constellation and will explore the wider galaxy, which is 1,000 planets in total. You can expect the usual when it comes to a Bethesda RPG, with full character customization, a huge expansive list of quests and stories, along with thousands upon thousands of lines of dialogue. I cannot wait to dive into this game and see more at the Bethesda Showcase in June. FORZA Motorsport, the automotive entertainment game reimagined for a brand new generation, is almost here, and all you gearheads can rejoice to hear that is coming this 2023. We saw real-time gameplay shown at the last showcase, and it was staggering to see how lifelike the racing simulators are nowadays, and myself for one cannot wait to bring out my racing wheel and take every car for a spin. Photorealistic beauty, real-time ray tracing on track, and some of the best simulation controls we've ever seen in a racing game, it's no wonder why many Xbox gamers have this as the most anticipated game of this generation. I cannot wait to play this game at 4K 60 FPS with ray tracing and race in the car of my dreams. One game that came out from the Paradox Interactive Showcase a little while ago, which surprised absolutely everyone, is a brand new combat strategy game called Lamplighters League. The Lamplighters League is set in an alternative version of the 1930s and tasks players with putting a stop to the Banished Court, which is a cult that spent a millennia trying to take over the world. Discussing the Lamplighters League, game director Christopher Rogers said that the game is almost all about weaving tactical gameplay that challenges your mind with narrative and characters that engage your heart. This game really looks fantastic, and it's great to see a brand new creative IP coming day and date onto Game Pass. Now, this next game really excites me as it's coming from the lead gameplay designer of Limbo and Inside. COCOON is a unique take on the puzzle adventure genre where each world exists within an orb that you carry on your back. Wrap your head around the core mechanic of leaping between worlds and combine, manipulate and rearrange them to solve intricate puzzles. The environments look gorgeous by taking a sort of alien biomechanical design, and it really stood out at the last showcase. It arrives into Game Pass day one sometime this year. FLINTLOCK: The Siege of Dawn shocked us with its announcement at the Xbox Bethesda showcase last year. However, its exceptional presentation, glorious open world and silky smooth combat made it stand out from most other games. You'll be able to jump in and join humanity's last stand against the gods as gods and guns collide in this action RPG open world adventure. Not only will you embrace magic and gunpowder, but the game promises to lead you on an epic journey to lead mankind's final siege against the tide of the dead. It will arrive sometime in the Game Pass this 2023. We then had the huge announcement this year that Cities: Skylines 2 is coming to Game Pass day one. And my god, this is a huge win for Xbox. The first Cities: Skylines is beloved by many gamers out there, and it's essentially a city builder but with incredibly deep mechanics, a satisfying and addictive gameplay loop, and outstanding mod support. The game has now been going for over 8 years, and I was wondering if we would ever get a sequel to the first game. There is only a little bit of information online about this game so far, however it states that Cities: Skylines 2 will challenge your decision making skills and allow you to build the cities of your dreams. We know this is coming to Xbox in 2023, so stay tuned for more news as it drops. This next game we still don't have much knowledge about, but is coming from Avalanche, the team behind the amazing Just Cause series. I cannot wait. Contraband is a co-op smugglers game set in the fictional world of 1970s Bayern. The developers have stated that this is set to be their most ambitious game to date, with stunning vast open world filled with beautiful vistas and incredible emergent gameplay moments. From news and leaks, it is still due for a potential 2023 release, so make sure you're subscribed for more news when it drops. Now, EREBAN Shadow Legacy is a stabby cyber stealth 'em up set in what appears to be a North African inspired world that's been taken over by not-so-friendly robots. It's rare that we see these parts of the world given a kind of robo-apocalyptic treatment. Neon signs and steely walkways jut out amid sandstone buildings, whilst palm trees and minarets rise up amongst the formidable metal silos. The cel-shaded aesthetic looks the part too. The hero, known as EREBAN, seems to have some nifty powers at her disposal. Most notably, she can morph herself into a kind of shadow smoke form that lets her quickly close distances on enemies, creep along walls, and squish herself through vent slats. The game really looks interesting, and I cannot wait to learn more very soon. One game that got a surprise Game Pass announcement very recently and is coming day one on release onto the service is the awesome looking EXOPRIMAL. This is an online team-based action game that pits humanity in cutting-edge exosuit technology against history's most ferocious beasts: dinosaurs. I'm surprised we don't see many games these days around dinosaurs, and from the demo we have played, the game is certainly looking pretty good. With PvP and PvE modes, there seems to be a lot on offer, and Capcom do have a pedigree for making some awesome dinosaur games. Originally expected to launch onto the Game Pass at the end of 2022, we have the competitive brawler Party Animals. It was delayed a little and will now be joining the service at some point in 2023. When it finally lands on the service, you will see a multitude multitude of funny and cute looking animals fighting across a number of game modes and using everything from plungers to lollipops as weapons. This reminds me so much of Gang Beasts with the wacky physics and fun gameplay. I cannot wait to destroy my cute and evil little friends. Next up, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. This is yet another horror title being taken in by the popular asymmetrical multiplayer genre like Dead by Daylight. This game is being developed by Gun, who are the people behind the popular Friday the 13th multiplayer game, so you can tell they already have so much experience within this space. With this game, you will either play as survivors or as the disgusting family, including Leatherface himself. These games always garner a lot of enjoyment and attention from gamers, and it comes out onto Game Pass day one this summer. If you're a fan of sim management games, then this next game is one to put on your radar. Coming from Calypso Media, which makes some of the best sim games in the industry, comes Dungeons 4. Dungeons 4 picks up after the event of Dungeons 3 and tasks you with triumphing over the forces of good once again. In this management sim, you will need to create a dungeon that will suit your creature's needs and preside over them until you're ready to send them out and unleash your minions. It's certainly a unique looking title, and it will arrive day one into Game Pass sometime this year. EIYUDEN Chronicle 100 Heroes was the #1 funded Kickstarter video game of 2020 and is finally releasing this year. With the prequel arriving in 2022, EIYUDEN Chronicles Rising, and blowing the minds of countless gamers, it's safe to say that this next entry is the most anticipated and could be a massive hit. With its unique art direction putting 3D voxel sprites in a real world environment with great looking turn-based JRPG goodness, it is certainly near the top of my own personal list. This will follow on from our previous adventure, and I cannot wait for it to launch sometime this year. Now, LIGHTYEAR Frontier is a farming game with a whole unique premise, and this has never yet been seen before in a video game. You will settle down on a beautiful new planet and begin your farming adventure as you build a farm, plant and harvest alien crops and discover unique alien secrets. Not only this, but the game looks stunning and you can explore it all with your friends. If this works as well as Stardew Valley, but with giant mechs, I am sure we will see a massive hit when it finally drops onto Game Pass. Well, one game that is heavily rumoured to be arriving in 2023 is an absolutely mammoth first-party title, and that is none other than the excellent looking Avowed. This is a first-person RPG set in the fantasy world of Yora and is being developed by the masterminds at Obsidian Entertainment. I mean, a huge RPG made by the developers of Fallout New Vegas and The Outer Worlds, it's always going to be high on any gamer's list and easily sits as one reason to own an Xbox Series console this generation. We don't have much gameplay to go on, but make sure you keep an eye on the showcase in June this year. One game that I've already played myself in alpha testing is ARA History Untold. This is a turn-based strategy game being developed for PC by Oxide Games. The game was revealed at the last Xbox Bethesda showcase and is touted to be similar in experience to Civ and Humankind. Many of you strategy fans can rejoice as the short snippets of gameplay we've seen so far takes this genre to a whole new level. With both directors of Oxide, formerly of Command & Conquer fame, taking the helm, I have no doubt that this will be an excellent strategy game and I cannot wait for you all to experience it sometime this year. Well, one game that unfortunately got delayed last year due to a wealth of technical issues on PC was Warhammer 40k Darktide. This is a brand new co-op focused experience from the award-winning team behind the excellent Vermintide series. This time, instead of the world of old, we are taken into the dark and chaotic future, fighting through the underbelly of Tertium. I have been a massive fan of 40k and the Warhammer series since I was young, and the fact that I could finally equip a lasgun and take on waves of the Chaos Forces is something that I could only dream of. This game arrives sometime in 2023 for Xbox consoles, and it comes day one onto Xbox Game Pass. If you're a fan of puzzle games, then Xbox gamers will finally be receiving MAQUETTE at some point this year. The game originally launched with PlayStation exclusivity, but now that the year is up, it is coming to Xbox consoles and day one into Game Pass. This is a first-person recursive puzzle game that takes you into a world where buildings, plants and objects are simultaneously tiny and staggeringly huge. I played this game on PS5 on release, and it is so hard to put into words how this game plays. I can heavily recommend that many of you put this on your radar when it finally arrives onto Xbox and Game Pass. Another addition from Annapurna Interactive coming day one onto Game Pass is Solar Ash. Again, this is another title finally dropping the PlayStation exclusivity and arriving onto Game Pass this year. In the strictest sense, Solar Ash is a 3D platformer, though it often combines as a sort of action puzzle game. You're cast as a void runner named Ray and sent on a mission to save the world. Ray's home planet is caught in a vortex called the Ultra Void, which threatens to rip it apart atom by atom. It's such a comically gorgeous game at all times, and the rail grinding sections are incredibly fun. Now, EVERSPACE 2 already launched for PC Game Pass in April, but we are finally going to be getting it on Xbox Series consoles sometime this summer, and the best thing is, it is coming day one into Game Pass. EVERSPACE 2 is a fast-paced single-player spaceship shooter with exploration in space and on planets, tons of loot, RPG elements, mining and crafting. Players will get to experience an exciting sci-fi story set in a vivid handcrafted open world full of secrets, puzzles and perils. It has been highly regarded as a great game so far by PC users, so we cannot wait for it to drop onto Xbox later this year. With Age of Empires 2 already dropping onto Xbox consoles earlier this year with fantastic reviews, we are still yet to receive Age of Empires 4 later this year. These are some of the best RTS games to have ever been released and will include a multitude of amazing features. If we've seen anything from Age of Empires 2 on console, we will get full controller support, full crossplay across console and PC, and I cannot wait to delve into the fourth entry into the franchise. If the release is anything like Age 2 earlier this year, then we're certainly in for a massive treat. I think many Xbox gamers picked up an Xbox Series console solely for this next game, and that is HELLBLADE 2. Originally shown at the initial reveal of the Xbox Series X console at the Game Awards, we were already hyped just to hear we're getting a sequel of one of the best games of the last generation. With us seeing more gameplay not long ago, I was absolutely stunned by the graphical masterpiece and outstanding acting. HELLBLADE 2 is going to be a massive game when it releases on Xbox, and many industry pundits have touted this for a late fall release this year. Believe it or not, this last game was announced way back in 2012 and then seemed to vanish off the face of the planet. Finally, last year we got to see the re-reveal, and wow, routine did not disappoint. Anyone unaware, this game is a first-person sci-fi horror game, with the game scored by none other than the legendary composer behind the Doom games, Mick Gordon. The short snippet we have seen so far shows us the players searching for an abandoned lunar base when something goes wrong, and exploration instead turns into survival. The visuals and atmosphere here are on another level, and I cannot wait for it to arrive onto Game Pass day one sometime in 2023. What game are you looking forward to most this year? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider dropping a like and subscribe for more Xbox content every single week. Whilst here, check out this video on screen now of 12 awesome games arriving onto Xbox this May.